Welcome back, CSE 230 W1, to part 3 of our ex1 lists and links, focusing on just basic intro HTML structure, elements, tags, things like that. And we're just working with a header image, a headline, a subheadline, and some lists, and a paragraph with some kind of dummy copy in here. And so far what we have is something that looks like this. We're going to make another list, and we're going to put some links on here. We already linked our homepage to get to here, but we're going to put some links that open up in a new tab of shows that we watched. And we're just making lists. Things I like to do in the fall, then we'll make a list that said shows like to watch or watch recently. So I like to change this up because the shows look dated if it's from like a year ago or something. But we're going to make another list, and it's all going to be inside of sections. So remember, we're in our index page in our ex1, and we're inside of section, so everything's kind of lined up here. So we're going to stay in here. We're not going to go outside of section. And I'll make another H2. So I'll just hit enter, and I'll put H2 tab. And I'll put shows I watched recently. Now, you can put movies, you could put games, you could put books you read, you could put whatever. You don't have to just put shows. Maybe you don't watch TV. Maybe you play games or you do something else. So I'm just going to put shows I watch because, you know, a lot of people watch different shows. But maybe it's movies you saw or whatever it is. But I'll just put shows I watched recently. And that's my subheadline, just like this. And then, just like we did before, instead of UL, this will be an ordered list. We'll make it numbered. And not that it's in any particular order, but we'll use numbers just so we see the difference between an unordered list and an ordered list. So I'm going to put OL, which means ordered, and then I'll use that greater than sign, which means you're going to put list items in there, and I'll put LI times 3, asterisk 3, and then I'll hit tab. And there they are. So that just makes things quicker. And you can put a lot of things inside here as you work. And I'm just going to put the shows in here first, and then we'll wrap things around it. I know sometimes it's easier to make one and then change it, but let's just kind of do this first. So I'm just going to put some shows in here. And things that I watched recently, I watched 1883, just finished up. Yellowstone, still in the middle of that, season 5. And then one I watched before that I enjoyed was Better Call Saul. It started off slow, wasn't really into it, but then it got really good when it got into the cartel stuff and all that. It got really interesting. So I did enjoy that. So those are the last things that I can remember. Not the only thing I watched, but things that kind of I remember watching and enjoying more recently. So these are not hyperlinked yet, but we're going to hyperlink them. And we're going to hyperlink them to what? Not to another page in here, but we're going to link them to an external page. So let's go find an external page. Like, let's just put up, Wiki 1883. Hopefully it'll take us to that page. 1883 series. I'll just click on here. So this is what we're going to link to. So if anybody doesn't know what 1883 is, here it is. And this is going to be the link. So I'll just keep this open in a separate tab. And I'll go back to my code. Now, we're going to hyperlink this. So our hyperlink, remember, has to go around this text, which is hard to do because now it's already here. It doesn't make things go around it, but let's just do it. Let's just go here and do a tab. And it didn't work. And sometimes it doesn't like to do that right in front of text. So do this. I'll backspace. I'll put a space here. And then I'll move my cursor back. And I'll do A. And I'll do A. And then tab. And now it does it. So be careful if you ever try to do it right in front of a word. It thinks you're just typing to that word. So sometimes you have to put a separation there. So now I have my opening A tag and my closing A tag. So where should 1883 go? It should go right inside here. Now, I don't think we can drag it in there. I think we have to cut. So do Control X or Command X, and I'll put it inside there. So now I have hyperlinked text. And also what we're going to do, inside this hyperlink, we have to put the value of our href attribute. So remember, href is our hyperlink reference attribute. That's the attribute, and then equals is the value. So what's the value? Is this thing. That is our link that's going to go inside there. So I'm going to copy that link, that URL, and go back here and put it inside the href quotes. And I'll paste it inside there. Now, it'll break the line here, and that's okay. And again, remember, there's the opening A element, and then the closing A element has to be on the other side of the text that's viewable. And something else we can put in here. Here's one attribute. What's another attribute we can put in here? and I'll put it right after here. I'll go here and I'll put space, and then I'll put target, and then equals. You don't have to put a space in here, and then I'll click on here. I'll put blank. Now I'm not sure if it'll do the quotes. Let's see. Oh, it did. It's helping me out pretty well. So I know it's kind of breaking weird on the line, but there's two attributes in here in my A tag, my A element. There's ref, href, which is the URL in quotes. Then there's a space. Make sure you put a space in. And then it says target equals blank. Now you can have a space on either side of the equal signs if you want, but you don't have to. Target equals blank. And notice I put underscore blank. What that is, if you're wondering what that is, it makes the link, the hyperlink, open up in a new tab, because we don't want to go out of our listen links. We just want to go open it in a new tab and then kind of come back to it and close it up. Oh, I want to go look at that show a little bit and then be done with it. So we're going to follow this for these things here. So that's going to be the process we'll do. So let's try it one more time. We'll just kind of repeat what we did. So I'm going to go here, and I guess I'll just put Wiki Yellowstone. Yellowstone American TV series. I'll click there. That way I have the URL. And what I'm going to do here and refresh it. Oh, and there it is. 1883. Let's see if it works. Click on it. There it is. It opened in a new tab. So it works. So it's always good to test it out before you copy it and do the same thing, or else you'll have the same error or same problem happening each time. So that works. So I'll close this up, and that's the idea, to close it up. I'm only keeping Yellowstone open so I can copy this URL. So there's our first, and it's hyperlinked. The other two are not hyperlinked. So let's go back and hyperlink this. So remember, when you want to use that emit shortcut, do a space first, and don't just click it there. Don't just type A there, because it'll try to connect it to Yellowstone. Go over here, get some separation, then do A tab. And if it ever doesn't work, just try it again. And then whatever order you do this in, if you want to put the URL in there, go do that. Go here, copy this, copy the URL, and paste it into here. And then put the target in. Remember, space. And you could actually copy it right from here. You could copy this if you want, but let's just do it. Let's go here and do space, target, and you could click on target, and right away it does the equals and the quotes, and then you could just do underscore and then click on blank. So it's helping you out here. Now, we still did not hyperlink our text, because watch this. If we go here and we refresh it, it's not hyperlinked. Why not? It's one of these errors. You're not getting an error message, anything like that. Well, it's not working. Well, you got to look at it. Why isn't it working? Look at your code. There's my hyperlinked text. Is it inside my A tags? No, it's after it. So the text is after it, not inside it. So I have to cut this and put it right here after the opening A tag and before the closing A tag in that A element. So that will hyperlink it. So I'll paste it there. And now it should be hyperlinked. If I go here, now it's hyperlinked. If I click on it, it should open in a new tab. And it does. So I'll close that. And I'll keep this open because I'll do one more. I'll go back to my code. And there's Better Call Saul. So let's look up Better Call Saul. Just do wiki Better Call Saul. And there it is. And here's the thing about the show. And this is the URL I'll put in here. So let's go back. And again, I click on here first, but I want to go to my code. And remember, if you want to put a hyperlink, put a space, and then go back. Put your cursor there, then do A, tab. And you can go and highlight this URL, copy it, go back to your code, paste the URL in there, and then after the last quote here, that's the quote of the URL, put another attribute, but you have to put a space to separate attributes. So you have to put a space and then target, click on target, and if you click on target, the little hint, it puts the equals and the quotes, and then you could just put underscore and then blank and click on that, and you're done with that. Except you have to cut Better Call Saul or whatever you have, cut it, and put it inside or in between the two A tags, meaning the opening tag and the closing tag of the A element. So make sure you put it inside there. And that's where people make mistakes. They put it in the wrong place and something's not working. And You just have to just watch. Okay, opening LI, closing LI. Opening A, closing A. And then your text is inside there. And if you miss a bracket or something, it's going to mess things up. So that's where this can get a little confusing or a little frustrating if you're not used to HTML tags, cutting and pasting things around. So everything should be working right now. So let's go back here. And I'm going to close this up because I already copied that. And I'll just refresh it. Make sure you refresh. And they're all links, so that's good. 1883 works. Yellowstone works. Better Call Saul works. So they all work. So all my links work. So we're almost done here, at least with the HTML. One last thing I'm going to do is go outside of section. So I'm done with section. I'm going to do another kind of area, semantic area. We have a header, not the head. We have the header that just had a picture. Then we had section that had everything else, our paragraph and headlines and all that. Now we're going to make one more for footer. So I'm going to go after section, hit return, and type footer, and hit tab. And I have an opening and closing footer tags, and I have a footer element. So I'm just going to hit return. And then inside here, I'm just going to put P and hit tab. And now I'm going to put a paragraph, and I'll put a copyright. So copyright symbol, if you look under W3 schools, I'll show you where those are at. They're called entities, believe it or not. Let's go there and check it out. W3 schools, and I'll just type in entity. I think they call them entities. HTML entities. And these are little characters that represent other stuff. Non-breaking space, ampersand. Here's the one for ampersand. Let's see where there's copyright. Copyright, and here's the entity. I used to just call them special characters, but they call them entities. HTML characters, entities. And the one for copyright, to make that symbol, you use ampersand copy and a semicolon, just like we used ampersand amp semicolon to make the ampersand. And also sometimes if you have to use brackets and things like that, if you really need a less than sign and not just a HTML version of it, you can use less than, greater than. So let's go and put in our copyright, and we'll go back here, and I'll do, it uses an ampersand to start off those entities. Copy, and it'll come up, I think, here. There it is, it's right there. Ampersand copy semicolon. And then I'll just put 2023, and I'll just put my name. You can put your name, don't put my name. And it should put the symbol, and you don't need a space in between it. I think it just could have the copyright symbol and that. And that's all you really need right now. Sometimes I do a background color on the page. I'll start that in CSS just to go over some of that, because I'll show you inline CSS, and then we'll start working with an external file. We'll have to create another CSS file, but after doing that, let's just make sure that this works. I'll refresh it, and now you'll have to scroll to see it, but we have, once again, in our header section, we have a picture, an image, which is a header pic, fall header pic. We have a headline, H1. We have a paragraph with 100 words. Then we have an H2 that has an unordered list. Bullet list is unordered. And then it has an H2 again. And then it has an ordered list. It's numbered. And then it has links that when you click on them, they open up in new tabs. So just basic HTML here. Basic everyday occurrences that you'll see in HTML. But if you're new to HTML, you should get familiar with this. And I'll review this and go over anything that's important, anything that I miss. Sometimes I go over this and it's like, oh, I should have mentioned this, or I should have said this, or maybe you'll have questions about something. And maybe you don't, but we're going to make this look nice with CSS. We're not going to do that in here in any of the HTML. We're going to do that outside of our HTML file with CSS, even though you can do stuff inside the file. So that's pretty much it. And for ex1, when you turn it in, all you have to do is just copy this. Copy your code so I can get to your replit. Sometimes you could copy this, but I still want to go and see your code. So I don't just want to see your page. I can always see your page from your code. Make sure that you're in your code, and you'll copy this once you're done, and just copy it. Even though I have your replit already, I have your replit username, but copy that just to show that you did it. Go back to coursework. I'm in documents and resources right now. Go to coursework. And now it should be open, and I'll click on it, and to turn it in, just go to add comment, insert a link, paste your URL from here, your code from Replit, and change this to new window, and then hit save. And one thing I could just point out here, a little extra learning that you're doing here. I made a link that opens in a new window. How do I know it opens in a new window? Because we already learned that target equals blank opens in a new window. Well, how did that happen there? Well, if you go into here, even when you enter a comment, you could see they'll have, there it is, target equals blank. It's using the same thing, target equals blank. So it's using that attribute, the target attribute, and the underscore blank value, and there's your aref, there's your paragraph, all that kind of stuff. So that's all HTML right in there. And then all you have to do is save, and you have that turned in for ex1. Now that's going to be under unit 2, and then after that we're going to work on the CSS. Now I still have older links in here which I'll update. I'll update the instructions, so it has the fall 2023 instructions. Even the videos are a little different. They break at different times, so I will update the notes for you. But that's part 3 of your ex1. So that's your ex1 assignment, is doing that HTML. When you're done, you can close your window, close this, you can close this, or just go back to your repels, and you're all done with ex1 lists and links